Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to Paradise. I'm Ismat. Today, I'm going to talk about religious laws. I live in the USA. In this country, we have government laws, we have state laws. If I were to break these laws, I will face charges. I could be imprisoned. So, government is the power over me. The religious laws, they are not actually laws like the government laws. They are not laws, but they are guidelines for an individual to follow these guidelines when he or she wants to surrender his human journey into the negatives. That means when I am ready to surrender my human journey and return back to my spiritual self, it has to be my willingness for me to surrender that journey and work on my purity. Therefore, no one has any kind of authority over me to tell me when that should be or how I should carry out this process. Another fact is that God has given us free will to each and every human being here on earth. Therefore, it has to be a person's free will to surrender his negativities and return to his purity. This cannot be forced by anyone else. If I were to tell you to fall in love with someone, like you have to fall in love with this person, can you do that? Can I force you to fall in love with someone? It's not possible. The feelings of love, it comes from within. What we feel, what we experience, these cannot be forced from the outside. These feelings for falling in love cannot be forced from the outside. For me to return back to God, to fall in love with God, it cannot be forced by someone. You can force me and I could obey, but that does not do any good for me because I'm just obeying. I'm not really feeling. Therefore, I will fail so many times in that so-called love. To fall in love with God means to fall in love with myself. And that means that I need to close the chapter of my human life, all that I am involved into, all the negativities that I have known to be my truth. I need to surrender all that and awaken myself to the truth of who I am. My true self, not the human mask. So that journey has to be an inner calling that has to be from within me. So these religious laws that are there, these are actually guidelines for someone to follow. That the person who is willing to remember who he is or she is, to remember her truth. All these negativities that we are involved into in this human journey as we are walking into this darkness, this is what makes us forget who we truly are as a spiritual being. So for me to surrender all these negatives and how to do it, reading these religious scriptures can help us to find ourselves way back. It can help us. But these are not necessary also. Because the guide, I could read these books, but just by reading these books, let's say if you are forcing me to read these books, I could read them. They will not really make me fall in love with myself or to find myself back, because it has to be my willingness. We learn when we want to learn, not when we are someone wants to give us a lesson. That's not when we learn. It has to be our own curiosity into finding myself, finding the truth. So this is an individual journey. This cannot be carried out as a group, and no one is that power over me. No other human being is that power over me. Why not? You might say. I could be a priest. I could be very pious in my words, in my actions, but I could still be a sinner. Every one of us, as a human beings, we are walking in the darkness on this earth. Even someone who is a guru, someone who seemingly from the outside seems like a very pure person, and he or she may think that she is very pure or he is very pure, but that person still could be impure. A bucket of milk, when we get it from the cow, if one drop of urine fell from that cow in that bucket of milk, the entire bucket of milk is going to turn sour. It's not going to be edible anymore. It's not consumable. Likewise, no matter how pure I may claim to be, or I may think that I am, in many ways, without my knowledge, I'm committing sins. I am just like another human being who is a sinner. And being a sinner, I am in no position. I'm not in a position to sit on a throne of judgment and judge another. The only judge is God. And that God is inside each and every one of us. Our soul is a fraction of that God. Once we surrender our human journey, all of it, we turn to God. That is when God will guide us from within. We don't even need to read any books. If we choose to, we may read. We can choose to read. If we want to go to church, we can choose to go to church. It has to be that person's personal willingness into doing whatever that he or she needs in order to be guided back to his God. But these are not something that I can enforce, being in my position. Let's say I'm very pious, I'm a priest, and I know a lot, and that does not make me qualify for me to tell this person what to do, and if they break the law, so-called the laws, that I punish them. No, I'm in no position to do that. If I were to force someone to seek his or her purity or to stay pure, like thinking that I'm guiding this person, that is taking away that free will that God has given to this person. And that will make me fall from my spiritual ladder because I'm dominating over that person. Dominating over another person is the work of Satan or the dark energy. It's not the work of God. Please keep in mind that we are not responsible to correct anyone, but only to correct ourselves. So, therefore, these laws are not laws. These are guidelines, and I am not the power over anyone. I'm just another human being. The Only person that we surrender to is to God, not to another human being. So that's all for today. I'll see you in my next video. I love you all.